Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Red Reaction Show from the LFC Daytrippers after Liverpool took the front axle, the back axle, and four wheels off a parked bus in North London tonight.
Whoa.
I'm your host, Keith, and I'm joined by Grizz Khan, by ADRIAN, and by Ray Dicko.
I tell you
what, you jumping in here? What?
No, I just want to say lucky. I just want to say lucky you sober saying that, boy. Bloody hell, imagine trying to say that opening line after a few cans like Gav.
There you go. Yeah, well, that's professionalism for you.
I tell you what.
Professionalism. Anyway, enough of this. Dicko, good to have you on. We don't usually see it on these parts, you know, midweek efforts and post-match shows. You must be a lucky four-leaf clover. What did you make of that tonight, Ray?
Well, I don't know. Last week I was on. Yeah, last week I was on, and it didn't go so well. My, I think it was my pod debut with Grizz, and it didn't go very well at all. Back in New Balance tonight. I think that was the key. I was really reaching for something, some sort of sign of inspiration. Really, I see you did the same as well. You did the same as well, Keith. The New Balance was back out.
I have to say, I'm not one of the anti-Nike tinfoil hat wearers like yourself and Mr. Casey. But yeah, New Balance, we brought it back. We got the win. We done well. But look, we're all a bit giddy tonight. And it's on the back of Liverpool going in and absolutely marmalading Spurs. 3-1, but it could have been a hell of a lot more, lads. Grizz, I'll come to you because I know you're itching to talk.
No, I'm okay today.
Oh
yeah, I'm actually okay.
Yeah, your feet and muddy.
But it's good to talk. No, it's good to talk. It's good to talk.
It is. It's always good to talk. Lads, we're back on track. Liverpool have got a win, and not only a win, and not only back to scoring, an excellent performance. Grizz, what did you make of the team selection before we move on to the game?
The team selection was, again, a case of pick the best players that you have available and then put them into a formation where your captain has to play at the back because Fabinho's out. Matip comes back and we're grateful for him to even play 45 minutes at this rate, at this stage. And the rest of the team picks itself kind of. But what was key, and maybe we'll go into depth, what was key about the selection, or more so the formation, was the subtle and slight change, actually not subtle, massive change of THIAGO playing as the 8 and Gini playing as the 6. I thought that was absolute key. I won't go into it too deep because you probably want to discuss it, but overall the team selection was positive. You know, I done carnage last night. I predicted a 2-0 win. Something gave me, I think it was the performance against United, to be honest with you. I saw a bit of spark in our forward play, a bit of bite in our midfield. The defense we've talked to death about in terms of personnel, and there's only so much you can, you know, do with that personnel. But I just going into this game, I felt really positive. I never knew we were going to lose. I always thought, you know, that's the draw's bare minimum. But wow, Klopp made a brilliant statement. He said that was us. That was more us, and that really was.
It really was. Gar, I'll come to you. Liverpool's team lineup, there was a lot of overreaction, I would say, in social media circles about the fact that Fabinho was missing. But when you look at the team, and if you take it that Jordan Henderson is a competent player who can play at centre-back, we looked stronger than Spurs did. If you look at the two lineups going in, I mean, they're playing Matt Doherty at left, wherever they had him. They had Joe Rodon in there. Yeah. They had Ben Davies had come in from the cold. You know, was there a bit of an overreaction from Liverpool fan base, do you think, without having a go at them? Like, but was there a bit of an overreaction from the team selection? I know we're going through a sticky moment and a bad period, but we're not.
I think you just touch on that. I think we're going through that sticky moment. We're going through that period of where, you know, results aren't really going our way. And we tend to concentrate on all things Liverpool, don't we, really? And we're going right to side. Fabinho's just, obviously, your Matip has come back in. You don't know what you're going to get as regards fitness-wise, reliability. But for once tonight, I actually looked at the Spurs lineup and I'm looking and I'm going, right, We've got Davis playing as a left side of centre half, not his position. Rodden's coming in out of the cold, so he hasn't got that much match practice in him. Dwyer as a centre half between them. Dwyer by name, Dwyer by nature, in my opinion. Matt Doherty playing as a left wing back when he's a right foot. Well, he's right-sided, plays right into a hand, and then Aurier, who's always going to give you a mistake playing there. So then we go into their midfield. Højbjerg has been, I think, one of their players this season, so I think he's needed everything to get it from him, so I've no issue with that. And the Bella has been playing well, although in their group at half-time, you would have thought he was Zidane at one stage, by the way some lads were going on, even though they were overloaded in midfield constantly. And then the front three, Bergwijn, doesn't jump out at me, to be honest with you, lads. He hasn't done it. Harry Kane, we all know what you're going to get. He's going to drop deep, so it's playing into our system straight away because he's allowing our centre halves to do what they do, or to play a bit more, if you want to call it that, right? No pressure, no runs in behind. Only if Min Song goes in behind them, which he does obviously at the start, and thank God I got this allowed. So yeah, I turned it, and suppose I looked at their side and spotted a lot of weaknesses. So I suppose it played into our hands really, Keith.
Yeah, really did. Kieran torn through a super chatting. Thanks very much, Kieran. I'm not going to overreact, but we're going to win the league with no centre backs. I love not overreacting. I'm a big fan of that sort of carry on. But I was going to go to Dicko to get his opinion. But
I think Dicko's enjoying his drink a bit too much.
Don't throw a gap there.
He is,
that's a brilliant post, to be honest with
you.
It
is. It could be worse.
Yeah, I've had worse, but that's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's we'll
get Dicko back in. We'll get Dicko back in now in a second. But Grizz, like something we've just said there, the Spurs lineup had as many holes and as many misses. Here's Dicko back now. Dicko, you're back with us. No, that's fine. Dicko, I'll give you your say. The lineup comes out at the start. There's panic stations among the Liverpool base. But were you was nervous about it? Were you as pessimistic about the Liverpool lineup, or did you think it was good enough to do a job against the Spurs team that was on show?
I was a bit frustrated, to be honest with you, Keith. Just the fact that we just don't seem to get any luck, do we, with injuries? I mean, we were hoping that we could see Hendo back in midfield, and we'd have Matip and Fabinho, and then kind of, a little bit out the blue, there's another sort of injury. It just frustrated me. Like, I just don't know what we've done to deserve the amount of injuries that we're getting. And now, in fairness to Hendo, like, for me, he was outstanding, and we'll come on to it. But like, for him to just slot back in there and look like he's been centre back and all his life is just testament to the type of player that we've got and what he'll do for the team. But no, it was just frustrating, really. But the fact that despite all of that, we were still able to play THIAGO in a more advanced role, as has been mentioned by Grizz. At least we were able to do that. That was clear early on in the formation, and I think we've had to. We have to keep faith with the front three and hope that they play themselves back into some semblance of form, and we definitely seen that today. So I was okay, apart from the frustration of not having Fabinho there today.
Yeah, it's a very true point. It's they're not getting any luck. People can laugh about it, and other teams. And if there's any other fans in there tonight, the Man United fans have been
they might be quiet tonight.
I don't expect many in, but we welcome fans of any other clubs in here. I know, Matt on the Tottenham blog might drop in after the show. We'll see, but the class is there with Liverpool, and it's just that we haven't been catching a break. Now, Grizz, the game starts, right, and it's we spoke about, we played Man U in the last league game, and I thought it was a much better performance, and then we played them in the cup, got beaten, but a much better performance as well. The bigger teams come in and the performance levels seem to pick up. Spurs come to town. How did you think we were going to start? Did you expect us to start as good as we did, or do you think Spurs maybe were unlucky to get a goal ruled out? We'll start at the very beginning. Like, what did you think of the start for Liverpool? Because Mane misses a sitter after. a minute.
Yeah.
I kind of expected the start, and I said so on a brilliant episode of Carnage. If anyone hasn't watched it yet, get on to Carnage, and you'll see an absolute prediction of a game and how it's going to pan out. Even though the Spurs lads didn't think Jose was going to pay a back five, I did.
Yeah.
I just knew it in my bones, Keith. I knew he's going to revert to type or shit his pants. The fact that there's no crowds there, he can implement the game plan of his fucking dreams. And what's the best game plan Jose knows? Absolute five at the back. Yeah. Just leave Son and Kane up front, and and two in midfield, just to sort of get on Ndombele on the ball and see if we can find Son and Kane. And that's exactly what it was. With that formation in mind, I knew we're going to swamp the midfield and we're going to have total domination of the ball. Now, people are going to talk about the Son offside goal and how easy it was for them to get through. Guys, we have to address the same fucking issue that we've got at centre back. When you've got 13 or 14 different combinations at centre back, which results in different combinations in midfield, to play that high line and the offside trap as expertly as we do, it's not easy. You're going to get it wrong a couple of times. Son's a fantastic player. Kane's a fantastic player. He goes through. Luck's on our side where one of these armpits or back of the toes goes in our favour. Finally, Ray. Because it's happened to us so many times, so we'll take it. Fuck yeah!
But you know what? I'm gonna cut across you there, Grizz. Yeah. I don't think that was an armpit. That was a foot.
Heel of foot. Okay.
They were measuring the armpit on fucking Robbo to see if they could get him on side. To see if they could lay him on. They got there. Was it Robbo or Trent?
Trent.
Sorry, it was
Trent trying to get Trent's armpit to keep him on side.
Keep him on. So you know, done their best. In fairness, so
sure. But still, we're just glad to get a VAR go for us, since it's been invented.
Yeah,
exactly. So, and previous to that, Mane misses the chance, and you think to yourself, "Oh God, is it one of those days again?" Sadio, even though he kept trying and eventually got his goal, which was a brilliant finish. He was the one out of the strikers that wasn't quite coming off, or even though the effort and energy was there. But look, overall, I knew we were going to swamp them. After that initial 5-10 minutes, I thought we were fantastic in that first half. Absolutely dominant. Our guys, where do we start? Who do we talk about? All of them. Honest to God, and I'm not exaggerating when I say I'm not exaggerating when I say Gini, Hendo, THIAGO, and Trent. Oh, they were absolutely brilliant. And it's just like what Jurgen Klopp said. We were back. That was more us. And you could see this sort of. I definitely saw it from the Man United game, where I thought there was a bit of swagger back in our attacking play. It was more brave. We were more brave on the ball. We were more progressive with our passing.
More risk, Chris.
More risk. And one of the main reasons for that is Trent. When Trent plays well, Liverpool play well.
Yeah. But it wasn't even we were getting back to getting the ball down and playing it in around the box and trying to be as intricate as we can. We saw Salah's goal against United at the weekend where Bobby just cut them open. He runs through. We haven't been doing that. We've been going out wide. We all know what we've been doing. Floaty crosses in.
No stupid crosses tonight.
There wasn't
stupid crosses.
Exactly. I don't remember one. Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe a few. When they were necessary.
The one I remember is one from Trent in the first half. I thought he was hitting it to your house, Chris. I thought he was asking you for a game. But in fairness, Robbo comes up the other side and protects it and keeps it in play. That's the only one I remember in the whole game. So that's something.
But exactly, I thought, and we'll come on to the performances of the likes of Trent, who was really, really good tonight. But it was before we move on, I'm going to touch on the Red Pills super chat, and thanks very much for putting in the super chat. Sell Matip and Gomez in the summer, otherwise we're going to be in the same situation next season. We'll come on to that maybe at the end. We'll come back to sort of the transfer situations and that, but we all know there's problems at centre back that need addressing. But I think tonight was the 11th different centre-half partnership in our 20th Premier League game. I think the 15th in all competition, right? And I'm going to assume our second-half partnership was the 12th.
Yeah, you'd have to.
Assuming Hendo and Phillips hadn't played together, but maybe they did it, I don't know. But we get into the game, and we start off. Mane misses the sitter. Spurs have the goal rightly disallowed. Mane misses another sitter when Salah clips one into him and he hits it straight at Lloris. But I'm going to say, I think the two of them were offside. I think the two Mane chances would have been blown up for offside. Certainly the second one. I think Mane comes back from an offside position, wins the ball, puts it in, and I think that would have been ruled out. So to me, the first half's going along. I think Sadio was struggling out of all of them. I think he's probably like, oh, you need something to happen, and something does happen. I'm going to skip forward. The cross for the first goal, it's not a good cross. He doesn't connect. Well, it's a good cross as it goes to where it needs to go, but even with that, he doesn't connect cleanly with it. He sort of scuffs it across. But that's what he needed, you know what I mean? That's the bit of luck that we needed to get. So, Dicko, like, do you feel that, you know, as we'll touch on the rest of the first half, like, we were the dominant team there, and it was just one team that were looking to just, you know, hit us on the break. The parked bus analogy gets thrown out all the time, but it was turning out that way again, wasn't it? In that first half, they weren't offering anything in attack, Spurs.
It just kept reminding you of what happened at Anfield in terms of we were the only team who were trying to play football, and they had a game plan and they were going to stick to it. There was times there, you know, 10 men behind the ball. You thought at times you were playing against West Brom again. Like, it's just unbelievable for a Spurs side at home, who, you know, have been top of the table for times this season. Have come back up, you know, they slipped away. They've been building back up towards the top four, and to just, you know, to just kind of look like a West Brom there. And we, you know, I paint it as almost like, it's like a Marvel comic. It's almost like good versus evil, you know what I mean? And we're just trying different ways to break them down. And to be fair, what you're saying about the goal, yeah, I mean, you know, when you look particularly the angle from the replay, he doesn't hit it very cleanly, but it ends up in that so-called corridor of uncertainty, and between the defender and the goalkeeper, neither of them knows, you know, whether to react. I think it's Eric Dyer, isn't he? He doesn't know whether to stick a leg out, risk an own goal. Lloris isn't brave enough to come out, and it just lands, you know, at Bobby's feet, and he's got the simplest of tap-ins. And I thought it was absolutely what we deserved. You know, I didn't think it flattered us at all. You know, 1-0 going in a half time, like perfect time to score a goal. Obviously 3 minutes of injury time, because, you know, unusual for there to be 3 minutes in the first half, but Kane had gone down. There'd been a couple of injuries there, and crucially the one to Kane forces him off. You know, I mean, I think that really gives, you know, it gives us, I think, an extra lift in some respects, because they have to sort of change it up because it wasn't working in the first half. But Kane adds to that, compounds that. But yeah, it's the relief as well after, what was it, 8 hours not scoring?
Yeah,
in the league.
It was a long out run. Gar, something that Ray touched on there about the cross into the corridor of uncertainty. If you're hitting that into a corridor of uncertainty, the two guardians you want in that corridor are Eric Dyer and Hugo Lloris, because they're both absolutely woeful for things like this. I think Lloris is he's such a highly rated goalkeeper, and it astounds me why, because his decision making at any time I watch this fella, his decision making is fucking terrible, and it's terrible again today on that, isn't it?
Absolutely woeful. It's in that, you know, you should command that kid. He has to come out at an angle. He doesn't come out at an angle. He goes straight down across his line. You're going to just have, you know, you don't know if there's a mix-up, if there's a shout between them. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Eric Dyer is absolutely woeful. I've said it for months. He's an absolute, he's chaos. He's an accident waiting to happen. It's the same with Serge Aurier, an accident waiting to happen. Joe Rodden is a kid coming into a side and fence him, so you can't obviously, you know, although he was Maldini at one stage in their group.
He had a good 45. He had a good 45.
Yeah, no, he was Maldini in the first half, and he went into Schmaldini in the second half because the other goal comes in. But now, listen, you're going to get a chance with some of them defenders, Keith. It's the same with Sanchez. If he had played, as you say, it dropped to the two people that you want there, wouldn't it? Really, there must. All I can think is, was there a shout there between them?
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. You just don't know what the communication. Their Spurs fans on last night reckon Dyer has been their best defender this season, which I think is pretty damning. I think, Spurs, any Jose Mourinho team, they defend as a unit. You know what I mean? And I don't know if they can single Eric. If they're singling Eric Dyer out as their main man, they have huge issues there. But I'm going to stay with you, Gar. It goes into the second half, right, and we come out of the traps like a light again. And our mate, Hugo Lloris, the shot comes in. That's the second goal, isn't it? Trent.
Yeah, Trent won.
Yeah, Trent. Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
Lloris pushes one out straight into the path, and Trent smashes it in. It's a great start to the second half.
And the guy who's won the World Cup, kid, and we always say, we always have that chat, to the side. Always go to the side. I'm sure listen, it's happened that, a split second, he has to do one thing. You think as a top class keeper, he's going to push it to the left hand side. He pushes it out to an angle with a player running off, and you're going to just have. Now, I'm not going to lie, lads. When I saw Trent coming onto it, he was having a good game, and I went, "Oh shit,
yeah."
This is going to the old Highbury ground, right? I just thought it, sugar. And I have to say, the technique in the shot is brilliant. I don't think Lloris is amazing for it, but I don't think he stops it, lads, to be honest with you. I just think the way he gets his body over, the technique of it, I think it's absolutely excellent from the kid. And it was brilliant to me. Absolutely excellent.
Did you guys see the similarity in Trent's goal to Hendo's goal at Anfield against Spurs? Was it last season or the season before when he runs onto it and kind of very similar, smashes it in? Yeah.
It's true. But Grizz, I'll stay with you. We've come on, we've started like a house on fire, but straight away they get one back, right? And it's an excellent goal by Højbjerg, but it's their only attack. What did you make of our defending, or were you worried when that went in?
Yeah, we kind of retreated and we kind of dropped off, which can easily happen as a team, as the midfield and the defensive line just dropped off at 10 yards and left a bit too much space on the edge of the box. And it happens, you if the ball falls to Højbjerg sort of 10 times out of 10 there, you think he'd probably score about 2 of them, maybe, if he's lucky. It's one of those strikes that, you think, all right, we'll let him have that strike and then hope for Alisson will stop that. Fucking pinged into the top corner, didn't he? Just like, do you remember the YNWA strike?
Yeah,
against us. It's the least person you'd expect, the DM of their team. Yeah, you could say Gini kind of for the first time in the whole game sort of lost his man and sort of retreated a bit 10 yards. But it's absolutely natural. Just after you've scored, even though the manager be screaming from the sidelines like keep that line, keep pushing up, it's natural just to retreat. And you'd think that sort of the mental state our team's been in recently, and then with the blow of Matip going off at halftime as well, I think THIAGO picked up a hand injury around that time, if I'm not mistaken. You think to yourself, fuck, here we fucking go again. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those seasons, it's the way it's going. But we showed that magical mentality that people talk about and the mentality giants. Suddenly we saw that come back, and I really, guys, I don't know about you, I really didn't think Spurs were back in it after that at all. I was so comfortable, even though 2-1 and the momentum was with them. I thought THIAGO, James Milner, we haven't even, has anyone said his name yet? I mean, it's a disgrace. It's 25 minutes in. Have you said his name? No. Have you said his name?
Grizz, can I just point out something? That you see that Spurs goal, right? It's the first time they've done an overlap right in the game. The first time, it's the first time they've then overloaded that area of which is usually a weakness to their side, right? So, and as you've said, right, these things happen. Like you can lose your shape, and it's obviously in the player's head, the psyche, right? Trent could be gone missing, so we need to sort of protect that side. And excellently pointed out, by the way, it is their first attack down that side, their first real attack. It's their first overload, and it's their first overlap in the game, and they didn't do it after.
Well, the thing is, again, you've got to give credit to Liverpool and probably coach from the Klopp from the sidelines, because you got to remember Spurs made a couple of changes at half time, and so therefore the team has to adjust to this new shape.
Yeah.
I didn't have a clue. To be honest with you,
We
guys
also made a
can
change
fill me in.
And upgrade that centre half.
Yeah, we
Hey?
also had to make it.
Well, exactly. But
Yeah.
no, but what I'm saying from a defensive point of view, we were so organized in terms of we knew exactly where they were, where the midfield, where the attack's going to come from. But it took us about 5-10 minutes again, like it does for any team, to work out where they're going to attack from, where they're going to have space from. And I guess you can put their goal to that. Slight confusion in the midfield setup. Gini, Milner, and THIAGO didn't pick up Højbjerg on the edge of the box. And sometimes you got to say, let him have that one. Fucking hell, that was a strike.
It was
First goal in 50. Krishna threw in the comments there. First goal in 57 games. You know, like that was the type of thing that had me worried. That it was just the fact that it was a worldie, and you think to yourself, you've just gone 2-0 up. You know, there was a nervousness about having to bring on Nat Phillips. He got a yellow card. Don't know whether it was just before or just after. You know, absolutely. You know, barrels through him. So at that moment, for those few minutes, you know, and it seemed to be, you know, Colin the WhatsApp was saying that the clock seemed to be going slow. I thought the clock went particularly slow those first 10 minutes after they scored, and I was dreading a second, because I always felt that we had to win that game. We had to keep our noses in front. Do you know what I mean? I really would have been concerned if it would have gone 2-2, because they would have been happy with a point, I think. At that stage, 2-0 down, Harry Kane off, they would have really tried to bunker down and get the point at that stage. And I think it would have been a massive shame if we'd have gone 2-0 up and we wouldn't have won that game, because I think we really needed it, you know.
Did Mr. Slackler throws in there 542 watching now, only 150 likes. Show some support. Look, we appreciate it. Hit the like button. Everyone should be happy. We've had a great win. Hit that like button while you are in here watching. But something with that we might have skipped over. There's a lot of substitutions happen at halftime, and Grizz will come back to you on this. So they lose Kane and they take off Ben Davies, isn't it? Is it Ben Davies comes off? Yeah, Ben Davies comes out at halftime. So they bring in Winks and they bring in Lamella. So obviously they're changing their shape then, and RDA goes off. Is it RDA goes off?
Aurier goes off.
RDA goes off, yeah. So Doherty goes to right back.
Yeah.
Davis to left back too. So they go to a 4 at the back, and it changes up their formation. I think this is gonna sound mad. I'm always more fearful of Spurs when Kane is off the pitch than when he's on the pitch. I don't know what it is.
It's outrageous cool.
I don't know what it is.
I'll let you finish.
Don't get me wrong. He's been excellent this season, and it didn't come to pass. But what I'm saying is, I thought Kane was woeful in the first half. He wasn't in the game at all. He went off, and I'm like, I don't like these little fuckers that they have that play little floaty forward types, wingers that drop into the 10 and drop in. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to run down Harry Kane. I'm saying in a game like that, when he's not on the Champions League final, he was injured, and I was delighted that he played the game, because he fucked up Spurs by going in and playing. And I'm just saying, I was actually thinking to myself, oh no, these are going to cause us trouble. They get the goal early on. We've got Nat Phillips after coming in. But they never got into it at all, did they, Grizz? Like it never happened for them. They were weird changes that they made that they never looked like settling on.
Yeah, with the Kane scenario, I know what you mean, but I think your opinion is based on was it last season when he picked up that injury and they had a very good run of form? But that was, you got to remember, they had a Dele Alli that was in form. I think at the time of Lucas Moura was in form. They had Son in form, so they had players with pace and were in favor, so to speak, right? And so they were flying, and they could do without Kane. But overall, generally, Kane's an absolute brilliant footballer. I think
I'm not trying to run down Kane. Sorry, guys. I'm not trying to run down. I just mean that for Liverpool, I thought if they have more of them little floaties,
the reason I tell you why,
when Kane isn't performing, I'm like, oh, this might.
Yeah. No, I get you what you mean. And obviously, when he picked up that injury, you know, you'd think to yourself, I hope he stays on. I know what you mean, because he's immobile and he wasn't affecting the play much. But I didn't see the danger when these guys came on and he sort of tried to change it. And the reason for that, Keith, is because of the manager and the coach and how he's implemented this mentality of defend at all costs, and we don't want to lose this into the team. And to suddenly change that in the 60th minute of a game against one of the most organized teams in world football, it's not easy. So I never thought that these guys would, because they haven't got the mentality to switch from ultra, and I'm talking, I don't play PlayStation anymore, but what's the most defensive you can go on a PlayStation? Like, there must be a mode from ultra.
Jose Mourinho tactic.
Right. So to suddenly go from ultra defensive and just throw on a couple of attackers, Lamela or Winks in midfield, and think that it's going to sort of change the mentality of the team, he's being deluded if he thinks that this Spurs team is capable of that. His classic teams may have been capable of that. The Real Madrids, the old Chelseas. Yeah, they may have been capable of that because, you know, he had the players and he had them trained to switch on and off. These tactics don't work anymore. I was never fearful at all. And I know I'm not saying it's not after the Lord Mayor's show. You know, I was very comfortable even with those changes. It would take 5-10 minutes for us to sort it out, see who's playing where, because I have no clue. I'm not going to lie to you. I was so focused on us and how Phillips was going to adapt and how we will make any changes. See if Milner drops alongside Milner as a double pivot just to protect, give an extra protection. I totally lost focus on how Spurs are changing and what they've done, to be honest with you. But you've explained it well, what the changes they've made. But I was never, I'm not going to lie, I was never fearful of those little players that you mention or call them to affect.
Not so much Winks. I think he's woeful, but I was thinking more along the lines of Lamela
and so on. Yeah.
And he sort of pulled into positions and caused those problems. And I just thought, you know, Lamela, Son and Bergwijn, they could have been, you know, with Nat Phillips in there. I think Nat Phillips can deal with the aerial threat, and it panned out that way. And anyway, but you know, it was just an interesting one that I was curious to see. But Gar, they scored a goal and nothing happens for them after that. You know, in what's it? So they scored on 50 minutes, is it? I have to check my time.
Just 49-50, isn't it?
Yeah. 49, yeah. And then on 57, we get another goal. Salah scores an absolute belter, and it's called back for a VAR. We know at this stage everything's getting called back for VAR, and we'll never get the benefit of the doubt on a VAR decision, as a lot of teams won't. That's the way it is. Do you think it was a correct decision, or do you think it was a harsh decision? Some people are 50-50 on this one. Where do you stand on it?
No, I think it was harsh. I think you can clearly, he obviously goes over the camera. You're clearly seeing the player getting pulled.
Yeah.
For the whole minute that it happens, well, to me, it seemed like a minute. He's getting pulled. The ball is bounced off his arm, first of all, towards his elbow, and then comes up onto Firmino's arm, correct? His hand does go up. So I don't know if you want to call it double jeopardy, or I don't know what's going on there, but we've been done twice. And then the worst thing is that they get a fucking free kick.
And that's what I wanted to get at. That's sort of what I was coming to.
But did you notice, lads, when he goes over to the camera, right, he's nearly pulling away from the camera when the close-up of the action happens. And I'm going to
he doesn't give him any time. He doesn't give him any time,
isn't he? Sorry, go ahead.
He doesn't give himself sufficient time. Like this was like confirmed for me that it's almost predetermined that he's, whatever's being said in his ear, it's almost like just a little act to go over. He's not really looking at it properly. He didn't give it the time, or maybe 3 or 4 replays, I don't think he really gave himself the time to understand that it comes off Dyer's arm first, or elbow, wherever it is, and then it bounces onto Bobby's. Unfortunately, where he might have got away with it is if Bobby's arm would have been kind of static, but unfortunately, as he's being dragged, he's trying to wrestle, his arm makes movement towards the ball, and that's the unfortunate part of it, because if Bobby's arm stays still and it hits his arm, he probably gets away with it. But as soon as Atkinson goes over and sees that, at the first glance, he's made his mind up, and it doesn't really matter from that point.
Yeah,
onwards, you know.
It's interesting because he is just looking at the side on view. You can clearly see the camera has gone and looked at him, and he's turning away just as they show the front on.
Yeah,
where you can see it. You know, look, I'm not arguing. It was a 50. It hits Bobby's hand. You know, it does hit Bobby's hand, but it's deflected onto his hand, and then they give them a free for obvious foul.
I don't know the rules. I'm not going to lie to you.
Nobody does, Grizz. The refs don't.
Yeah, I don't know. We can discuss that.
Hand towards the ball, I think, is the thing that essentially gives it, and that's what it comes down to. If his arm was static, he probably gets away with it because it's kind of some kind of incidental contact.
Dicko, even though you're spot on, I 100% guarantee you that's not what the ref was interpreting and what he was looking at. He saw it hit his hand, and that was it. As you said, he didn't give enough time for him to. He didn't have another look at it to assess the situation. Personally, I thought it was handball. But the way you've described the law, and told me exactly what the law is, and if the hand moves towards the ball, I don't think it was an intentional move towards the ball.
It's getting grappled.
Then, you know, but you know,
his right side is the only side that's free, lads, from the move, because that whole left side is getting pulled in every which way direction it can be.
Why is it they can't say actually look at it and say, okay, there's a foul that occurs first on Firmino, or there's a handball that occurs first on Dyer, and give the free kick to us? That bit just defies logic, doesn't it?
Exactly, and that's the frustrating thing, you know. And that's sort of what I was coming to with the whole point of speaking really about this. It's as clear as day that Firmino's being dragged. And even with the handball, the chat's hopping there. People are saying, "Oh, definitely handball, hit his hand." Nobody knows the laws, but is the law not, you know, if it deflects onto the arm, it's not a deliberate handball, whether his arm, because Bobby, as Gar says, Bobby can't do much with his bleeding arm because the other one's getting dragged and that arm is loose and it hits off Dyer straight onto him. I thought it was a strange one you can talk about. You know, it wasn't a straightforward, clear-cut one, but it just showed the move then to get in and score that we were looking to, we weren't feeling sorry for ourselves after they scored. You know, we were looking to say,
definitely.
Right, we're in a bad run of form. Our confidence is low, and we've got a bit of a setback to concede the goal so quickly after going 2 up. But what I
thought was quite funny about that goal, it was coincided with THIAGO having to go off and get bandaged up, and he literally runs on the pitch and he gets involved in the move. He sprays a ball out wide, I think, and then we score. You know, then we scored a goal, but ultimately it doesn't count. But I mean, THIAGO tonight for me, he was walking that tightrope, wasn't he, for such a long amount of time. I was just petrified of him getting sent off, to be honest with you. So I'm just so glad he got through the game. Yeah,
you know, it's one of them. You pick up a yellow so early, and we've all watched THIAGO. We all enjoy THIAGO, but he is picking up a lot of yellow cards, and he's
THIAGO's calls.
Yeah, well, but you know what? I see that a lot, that he's getting compared to him, but a lot of the time, like, Scholes was dangerous in a lot of his tackles, in fairness. Like, he was breaking people up.
I think the difference, Gar, I get that comparison, why it's made and etc. But I think when THIAGO tackles, and I know this is obvious, and you know, you're going to say most footballers do, but I don't think they do. When THIAGO tackles, he tries to win the ball in the tackle, in terms of come away with the ball. And Scholes was a reckless tackler in terms of how many times did we see the foot up and it was just eyes closed and just going at him, just to sort of try to create this hard man image, like I may be 4 foot and ginger, but I'm a tough cookie. You know, he always had to prove, like, do you know what I mean? THIAGO's far more smarter in the tackle. You know, he tries to get the ball, nick the ball. How many times do we see when he's pulled up for a foul, he says, you know, I'm going for the ball, I'm trying to nick the ball. You know, I'm not going for the leg or the toe. But he was on a tightrope, but he's too smart, Dicko. He's very clever. He knows. After that, he was so smart in terms of even sort of lunging for the ball. He just I just love him. And today, that sort of slight tactical switch of playing him further up, I thought it was great things to come. Great things to come.
Yeah, yeah.
Stephen O'Connor says he tackles like Mascherano used to, tenacious but no malicious intent. And you know what? That's actually a very good comparison. Mascherano gets thought of as this hothead, but he was an excellent tackler of the ball. And it's snapping in to win the ball. Fabinho's brilliant at this as well. Win the tackle and either pass it in the tackle or get up with the ball. You know, it's not a lot of players do that. But you know, you do be worried when he goes into those. But as it happens, about 6-7 minutes later, we do get another goal. We're really going at them now. We're playing lovely stuff. And this time, it's Trent plays in a lovely cross, floaty one. It hits off Rodon's hand, I think. Did anyone notice that it brushes, or maybe I
slight deflection of it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like he controls it on his arm, but it drops to Sadio. And what did you make of the finish?
Oh, lovely. He needed it because, as Grizz was saying, you know, everything was trying. There was one when he's outside the box and he nearly forgets the ball at one stage in the first half. And if he takes it on, he has a shot, and you're going to yourself, something has to come off him. Something has to come off, and you know it finally did. Again, that ball, the first decent cross I've seen in the world from, was unbelievable. Corridor of uncertainty, as you just spoke about a few minutes ago. And who do you want in that corridor uncertainty? Well, you certainly want the recent there. This time it wasn't Dyer, it was Schmaldini at this stage, because his Maldini had worn off with this stage. And listen, it's a great ball, lads. The ball is unbelievable. A better keeper deals with it, let's be honest here, or a centre half, you know, tries to do something with it. But it's an absolutely splendid ball.
It really was. It was a great goal, and it just it was what we deserved. You know, we didn't deserve to let them back in. They weren't trying to, you know, there's more than one way to play football. There's more than one way to skin a cat, and Spurs are entitled to kill a game if that's how they think they can get their points. So we can't moan about, you know, only one team wanting to win the game. But it was the least that we deserved, was to be really, you know, getting out there with a 2-1 and having question marks wouldn't have been fair reflection of the game. So to get the three was brilliant. We go on, nothing else happens. You know, Spurs don't offer anything else. Gareth Bale comes on and must be one of the worst signings of the season. This fella, for whatever, unless they have him and they're not paying any wages, it's an absolute disaster of a signing for them. But we see it through. Now, lads, I want to talk about, well, there was no bad performers, but who impressed you most tonight? And I'll start with you, Grizz. Who are the players that really stood out for you tonight? There can be more than one, but try not to talk about it.
It's got to be more than one. I'm not going to let you ask for one. I'm not going to let you put me in a corner and say, well, no chance.
Put baby in the corner.
I tell you guys, you try to pick one man of the match out of that lot. I mean, you know, we've discussed Trent and the backlash or criticism the fellas, you know, been receiving last few weeks. And look, you know, rightly so, you got to call a spade a spade. His performances haven't been up to scratch, you know, the Trent that we know, you know, our playmaker, our Kevin De Bruyne from right back. But I thought today he was majestic. You know, I thought he was brilliant. I thought Genie absolutely ran that game. You know, silent but violent. You didn't see him too much on the ball. You didn't see him going crunching into tackles, but he was everywhere, if you know what I mean, Keith. So clever. So clever. And I genuinely, and I've said this before, I know people go on about his Holland record and the role he plays for Holland, but I truly, and I've said it before, the best role for him in this Liverpool team is that role, in my opinion. I absolutely do. Because what that does is frees up Hendo, when Hendo playing centre-back in 2023, and THIAGO. It frees up THIAGO, and then obviously when Naby comes back in 2024, that will sort of frees up Naby to play that creative role. But Gini, out of all the players we've got in midfield, in my opinion, apart from Fabinho, is the best suited to play that role. And fucking word for I've discussed Bobby as well. I don't know, who do you want me to discuss next? Bobby? Fuck you know.
Some
I mean,
for the others, Grizz, for
yeah,
God's sake.
yeah.
I'm gonna
Go on,
have
take over. Yeah,
He's
take
going to
over.
leave. He's going to leave us with Nat Phillips.
Well, I'm going to talk
Brilliant.
about Nat Phillips if
Brilliant.
no one else does.
I could do a pod on Nat Phillips as well tonight. Go on,
Carl, I'll come to you next. Who stood out for you? Who were the impressive?
I'm going to go tactically on this one, Keith. That's not like me, is it? I think the whole spine of the team tonight, lads. You know, everything else branches off and works because of it, in my opinion. The centre halves were excellent all night. You know, Matip was very, very good. He was on, and then Phillips came on. That little header that he does at one stage is excellent. You know, anyone silly gives away a penalty, but he does well. The midfield that just worked absolutely perfectly. Milner is in the middle of that, absolutely all over the place, lads. You know, you can't put into words his performance tonight at times. And then, you know, Bobby gets a lot of grief, lads, but I have to say, tonight, everything just clicked off him. Yeah. And when everything clicks off Bobby, the Mane and Salah will click off him as well. So it's, for me, you know, the spine just works so well tonight. And everything else, you know, falls into place because of it, in my opinion.
Yeah. And Dicko, what about yourself?
Well, I was just so impressed with Hendo, you know, him able to slot into that centre-back and look so natural there. When you think about, you know, us trying to find solutions to what's going on, I'm putting in natural centre-backs, the likes of Phillips, the likes of Williams, and seeing some of the errors that they've made. They're young, they're inexperienced, but I know he's an experienced head, but that's not his natural position, but he just looks so assured there. To be honest with you, if you think about it, those first 45 minutes, Matip and Henderson, like we did nothing to make a case for having to sign a centre back if that's what needs to be done. But having said that, just the super chat there, Ramez is saying the Matip injury looks like something serious. Ankle injury is being talked about now, I think, on social media, and it doesn't look good. And then maybe it will be what causes FSG to finally buckle. I'm certainly hoping so. But back onto the performance for tonight. Milner was solid. I did think it was hilarious, that one. You can say it when you're 3-1 up, but that kind of inadvertent back pass almost that goes over and almost lets them in there. And I think it's actually Nat Phillips who comes in and cleans out Son in the process to rescue the situation. In fairness, I mean, after he gets his yellow card, he's, you know, look, he might, unfortunately, for me, someone who's going to give a penalty away or something daft away at some point if we have to persevere with him. And yeah, we talk about the 12th pairing of centre-back. The 13th pairing is going to be Nat Phillips and Reece Williams, unfortunately. So I don't want us to get to the 13th combination. There was a lot more positives to take out of the lads up front as well. I thought the three of them as a combination just looked a lot more on it tonight. I know Salah doesn't score. He's unlucky not to score. But that's okay. If he's saving 1 or 2 up for West Ham on Sunday, then so be it. Let's start spreading these goals out again. Brilliant to see Trent back on the score sheet, because I think that gave him a massive lift. I think, you know, he's a right back, but he's a lad who it's essential for that he's contributing with assists and goals. So yeah, I mean, loads of positives across the pitch tonight for me.
Yeah, it really was. And just a word on Phillips. He gets a lot of criticism, and his distribution isn't good. We know that. But he can defend, you know, and if teams are going to put balls into the box, he can clean out aerial threat. And it's something, he's 23 or something like that. He's a lot older than Reece Williams. But his decision making is a lot more, you know, better than Reece is. Unfortunately, he's in the forward line at the moment. I don't like to take pops at the young Philip. But I thought Phillips done himself no harm tonight. He came in there and he done a really good job. But the talk in the chat is we've had to see up a chat. Matip, a bad injury. it's just going to cause more problems. So, right, we the match is won. We do great. Happy days. We're all delighted. It's a great win. Let's not disguise it. It's a great win against a good team away from home. It's what we needed. We share the goals. We share the performances around us. Brilliant. But let's have a chat about centre backs, lads, because Dicko touched on it there. If we have to go to West Ham and start Nat Phillips and Reece Williams, hands up who's confident of a win there.
No.
I'll put my hands up because I'm a cloud. But
yeah. You're cloud man. You're going to put your hand up. Yeah, 4-0 them. Yeah, but Keith, I don't know if you want to come to me. I think I feel the most passionate, so I'm going to take it upon myself. I just think it's not that, Dicko. It's not that. It's criminal, guys. There is no way you can tell me and give me any top red and super, super whatever you call them on social media. No one, not one person can give me a rational argument against getting a second. Not one. It's amazing. Gav saying the Fatback 4 on Sunday. I'm telling you, we're next in the firing line to play. Fab. Oh, Fab.
People are saying you've got a hair transplant, Grizz, because of the hats, but I think you might need laser surgery as well while you're in there.
Yeah, exactly. But look, tonight we saw of what we are. We're a magnificent football team that Klopp has created. And Klopp has created. I'm not having anything else. Klopp, with the help of Edwards, has created such a wonderful team. Look at the joy and happiness on the listeners, on the viewers' faces because of the performance we've put in. Up against it, literally without a senior centre at the club right now, without a single senior fit centre-back. And are you telling me we're still talking about maybe we can't do something, maybe we should just wait? Well, what the F are you talking about? Klopp is an absolute miracle worker, but he's not God. This is beyond criminal if we don't address the issue. I mean, I still believe we have to. Yeah. FSG are supposed to be businessmen and clever and absolute pioneers of the business they're in, and brilliant. I get everything what they've done for us, but this is and we've used this word in the WhatsApp group a lot last week or two. But I truly believe this is a watershed moment for them. I absolutely do.
4 points off top. It's like, I know City, it's ominous, the way City have hit form, but they're not. Yeah, okay, they beat West Brom 5-0. West Brom are garbage, and I know they came and got a point and whatnot. So let's not read too much into that. They've got a few in, De Bruyne is out. Like the league isn't totally gone. I think it is. Personally, I think it is. But if you look at it, if you look at the table, it's not gone. Like, it's salvageable. If we get a centre back in, it's going to do so much for the next 18 games. And we've also got a Champions League. You look at that tonight and you start thinking about, well, hang on, we're playing Leipzig in 3 weeks' time. There's a Champions League there that's up for grabs as well. So if we were to bring someone in who can play Champions League football as well, it'd be absolutely massive for us. I think, assuming Fabinho comes back, I think he's going to go for Fabinho and Henderson. I really do. I think.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That midfield tonight is, and playing Thiago more advanced. I think a Thiago, Milner, Wijnaldum, or a Thiago, Jones, Wijnaldum. I think he'll now manage to settle on something in the midfield and accept that he's going to lose Henderson and Fabinho if he has to deal, if that's the way he has to go without a centre back. But it's a crying shame, really, to come out of this window without another centre back to add to the ranks, because all joking aside, if we do play if we do have to play Nat Phillips and Reece Williams for any game, don't care who the opposition is, we're going to be very, very vulnerable.
Yeah, I think you can sort of pick games that you may get away with Phillips alongside Fabinho or Henderson. You know, if it's a team like he done well when he went in against, was it Brighton he went in against? You know, if there's teams that aren't going to be intricate around and quick, I think Phillips can do a job for you. But it's, you know, it's not doing the kid any favours.
But you're relying on, just to add, you're relying on Fabinho and you're relying on Henderson, and both of these guys have had injuries in the last 10 days that have kept them out of games of football. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that all this culminates in, you know, it might be Brighton next week, you know. But Brighton isn't a team that you want to be throwing the two young lads in. There's no one in the Premier League now. There's no one you want to be risking that.
We saw what Aaron Connolly done when we played Brighton a few weeks ago, and they just targeted, you know, that side and just sort of went pace, and that's what teams will do. But Matip injured has to change the thinking of FSG, Gar. It has to be something that they're going to think about. But an interesting article in the Echo that I was reading earlier, I don't know when this was done, we have to remember that the squad makeup has to have so many non-homegrown players, blah, 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 all that, yada, yada, yada. The Champions League squad has to have so many home-trained players, and they linked us with a move for Martin Kelly, who qualifies, right? He's out of contract in the summer. He qualifies as a club-trained player because he was with us in his youth. Discuss Martin Kelly, 6 months till he's out. Would you take Martin Kelly back on a short-term deal if we can't do any other business? Because you have to remember, it means we don't have to get rid of anyone else out of the squad. We can bring in not an English player, a homegrown player, without having to sacrifice anyone. We can't bring in a foreign player without sacrificing a non-homegrown player. Martin Kelly, go.
Okay, so you've got Martin Kelly.
Who's on the admin there? Someone's not happy with that being discussed. Martin Kelly, I hear.
Does Connor Cody and Andre Wisdom fall into that?
Yeah, well, that was it. Genuinely, this was an article I read I think it was in the Echo today. I don't know. I read it today in the Echo, but I don't know when the actual article was. And they did say Connor Cody is an obvious thing, but he's not. You're not going to get Connor Cody for any cheap fee. You know, Connor Cody's an England international. He's the captain of Wolves.
Yeah.
You're paying 30, 40 million for him. You're not paying that for Martin Kelly. Discuss.
It's a big stopgap, isn't it?
Yeah. It is a big stopgap.
It's a big stopgap. The guy hasn't probably played under 23s football at this stage, he's probably training with the under 12s now down there, is he?
I haven't even heard of him. I mean, I'm going to look up my FPL sort of notes.
Martin Kelly. Oh, come on, Grizz. This must have been when you were supporting Arsenal.
What I mean, are we talking about the Martin Kelly who's at Palace?
Yeah, the lad that noise hair. He's got
that's
really
what I mean. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I haven't heard. What I mean, I haven't heard of him. Is he hasn't played any football for? No. That's what I meant in terms of he hasn't played
probably a couple of years. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. It was It wasn't in my Arsenal days, Dicko. Come on. I know Martin Kelly. What I mean is, like, he hasn't played football. This is mad. Yeah. If someone suggested that, they're absolutely not a football man. Whoever suggested it on the Echo website, no, Keith, I'm not going to let you go. That's an absolute stretch. Listen, this is how it is. Let's not beat around the bush.
Trained as well, Grizz. It's not just trained. You have to have so many of them in your Champions League squad.
We will work. There's many ways of working around this. And if our club and if our directors and if our recruitment team and Edwards, etc., Mike Gordon and all of these guys are what we've made them to be, and we've praised them, and very rightly so, because they've taken us to the Holy Grail, which is the title, and we can't just suddenly switch off after that and say, okay, well now we have to start finding Martin Skirtle and Kevin Kelly or Martin Kelly or Jay Kelly.
Kevin Kelly.
I don't give a shit. Whoever R. Kelly, fuck off.
Madge Apple says he'd rather have Ed Kelly with a bucket on his head.
Do you know what I mean? This is mad. There is no way we cannot find a centre back in world football with our scouting network. Edwards and Fallow will have lists of centre back, databases of centre backs given to Gordon and said, go and no, it's not a matter of homegrown and all this. We can work our way around it. They have to just give. Mike Gordon has to get his hand out of his arse or whatever he's placed it all window and go and give the go ahead. And I do believe we will. I know we've left it to the last second, and it needs must now. This was the final straw that broke the camel's back. The Matip injury and the severity from what we've read. It's Dicko. There's no other choice. I don't want to start talking about Williams and Phillips. Bless them. Phillips has done a very good job for Phillips has done a very good job. He hasn't let us down when he's been in the team. Williams, okay, he's made a couple of errors, but he's young. I'm not going to sit here and start trying to talk them up and say, no, well, they could do a job. Listen, they're not for us. They're not ready for us. We're Liverpool Football Club. We're way, way ahead of these kids' levels at the moment. We need a centre-back. It should have been done January 1st. I'm with Dicko. I don't think he'll rescue our title charge, and that's fucking sickening as it is, right? But we can still salvage the rest of the season, especially the Champions League. Go and get a proper centre-back, man. Don't give me none of this. Give me a glass.
Can I ask one thing? Can I ask, when does the window slam shut? Well, how long have we?
Monday.
11 o'clock on Monday. They never close
11 o'clock on Monday.
Yeah. Like basically, we've got 24 hours.
that is essential viewing for any Liverpool fan on Monday.
Liverpool take the piss. They don't even let Vinny O'Connor near the stadium, near the training ground. They turn all the lights off and all on him. Vinny go home, nothing's happening.
But that's because he'd be standing outside Melwood. That's why we're in Kirby.
True. Very true. But now, all seriousness, and I'm deadly serious. Martin Kelly, 6-month deal, and you send them off. You look at the other names, right? And you see Socrates gets a link, right? You look at Mustafi getting linked. You look at someone saying about who else was thrown in the chat earlier. I was saying someone else was released. It was Neven Subotic, right? Neven Subotic was wrote off with injuries about 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, he can't.
And people are linking him, so. Martin Kelly, he's had a lot of injuries as well.
Guys, tier 1, I'm telling you, tier 1 information I told you guys 2 weeks ago. We started talks with Militao from Real Madrid. The only sticking point, what I was told, and this is tier 1, this is not spoof talk. I'm pretend no one's listening. I'm talking to you guys. Forget the listeners. We've got about 700 people listening here. Ignore them for now. I'm just talking to you guys, right? My friends. We started talks with ADRIAN Militao. The only sticking point, the major sticking point was, Keith, what we discussed with the obligation to buy.
Yeah.
They insist we pay 43 million at the end of it. And we obviously have got other targets. We didn't want that.
We would tie ourselves into that deal.
That's the problem.
Was it obligation? Was it not
obligation?
It became an obligation.
Option is great.
No, we wanted an option. We wanted an option, Dicko. We wanted an option to buy because it gives us a chance to assess him. It gives a chance to assess our other targets. It makes sense all round.
Okay.
The fee wasn't the problem. The wages wasn't the problem. The 2.5 million wasn't a problem. Signing on fee, and the wages wasn't a problem. We were ready to pay his full wages, which was 65,000. The sticking point was that, and we walked away from it. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. If we're going to go back to that deal, also the Sven Botman deal again. Long-term target makes every sense. Scouted ages ago. We scouted him. He's not one of those just popped up on our database. But the sticking point was the fee up front. We were only willing to pay 4 million up front. They want 8 million. We have to go and revisit that. And these are just two of the names. There is loads of centre-backs that we have scouted and we've been asking about. The fact that we've been asking about them, we haven't been asking, oh, how are you doing? How's your injury coming along? How's your progress? We've been asking about them with the intention of buying them. It's obviously a financial restraints that is stopping us from going over the line. We didn't ask Socrates, oh, how are you? How was your time at Arsenal? Okay, cheerio. We fucking asked him, what's the situation, etc., etc. But we obviously opted out. I can see that not making sense, but there is plenty of centre-backs that would make sense, and we have to act in the next 2 days.
They sent out Socrates, this is, I got this tier 1, they told Socrates to go out to his garden and get his kid to send a video into the WhatsApp of him sprinting to the end of the garden and back to see how fast he is.
Couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it in the mud. So, look, I think they're going to do something. I think they have to. I think the Matip thing has just thrown it. We all know Matip's flaky with injuries and anyway, but if Matip is out for any sustained period of time now, it's just gone beyond, anything really. You've no centre-backs then. Fabinho has played centre-back and he is our fourth-choice centre-back, whether people like to believe that or not, he is. But to go now without the three actual centre-backs would be a bit of madness. So I think Liverpool will do something. I think they have to now. I just hope FSG's hedge fund wasn't the one that got absolutely slaughtered in the GameStop thing that's happening all over the world at the moment.
Yeah. By the way, when's Vandenberg ready?
2028, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. They go through puberty first.
He's off to Preston. So that's where Vandenberg's gang. Or when he's ready.
This Kidderminster Harriers, I suppose. So he must be better than...
to be honest with you, he impressed me more than Reece Williams. The last couple of games, his appearances. I know I've been probably the chief piss taker.
Yes,
okay, fair enough. I hold my hands up. But you know me, Keith. I always like to admit when I'm wrong. And the last couple of games, he has impressed me for Liverpool. I can't remember whether it was the cup or the league, but he did look slightly better than Reece Williams. Now, no, that's not saying much, but
well, Sarah Ali's told me anyway. Vandenberg is awful. So
that's you told.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, look, lads, we go on now. We play West Ham. Away, is that away or
it is again? Yeah,
another away again.
Are they staying down Brisbane Road way, Grizz?
No, they drove back. Shall I tell you, honest to God, no word of a lie. The last time we played Spurs, they trained at Leyton Orient. I saw them because I've got property on Osborne Road. Sorry, it's adjacent to Brisbane Road. I'm giving too much details away, but never mind. But the funny story is, right, I was driving back up right to Luton where I live, and you know what was the funny thing? I suddenly looked up, and no word of a lie, the Liverpool coach was right beside me on the way home. I frantically tried to horn and get someone's attention to see if they give me a wave, but no one did. But that's an absolute true story. What was the chances of the Liverpool bus being adjacent to me on my way home? And I think we smashed
the universe sort of done that. They lined you up. Liverpool, Grizz Can.
I actually did. I minded the bus for them as far as I could and sent them on the M6 after that because obviously
Excellent. But lads, West Ham away, right? West Ham away the weekend. Dick, I'll come to you on this.
Yeah.
Can you see us keeping this momentum going in? Or do you think West Ham pose a different threat than Spurs? They'll be a lot more direct, won't they?
Yeah, I mean, look, have West Ham ever been in better form? I mean, I know we've sort of leapfrogged them tonight, but still fifth for them. Antonio is their main man. He makes them tick. He's back. He's 2-3 games back in, and he's scoring goals again. There's a lot of fans in our WhatsApp group of Souček. He's scoring goals for them, so they've definitely got threats there, and they seem solid enough at the back as well. I think it'll be, and we don't have we've had a few shaky results there down the years. Even in this stadium, not just in the old Upton Park. So. Yeah, I think we've got to be on our guard. But look, if we go back out there and we're in the same kind of form as we were tonight, then we've just got to look after our own game. And I said before these two games, I'd have bitten your hand off for 4 points, and I wouldn't be too despondent if we ended up drawing there in some respects. But now that we've got the 3 points, you have to kick on, don't you? You have to kick on. You got Brighton then at home. You've got to redress this now. Those results, that such bad run of form. You got to redress that balance and get 9 points here now.
Yeah. Gav's having great fun in the chat tonight. He's full
end of
beating
West Ham. End of.
Gar,
in as well.
Gar, I'll come to you. I think Stefan said it there. Their front six on form, blah blah. Do you think the fact that our forward players are getting goals again will tip it back in there? You know, it's been doom and gloom for the last while, and it's focused on the defense. It's been the forwards that haven't been doing the business. Do you think the return to form of our attacking players can be what helps spur us on now to get us back into shape?
Hugely, Keith. Listen, Moyes done well, getting a tune on a Creswell again. Agbon is all right. Dawson's not a bad player, and Kufal has been a very, very good signing for him. Yeah. But I just think, Grizz touched on earlier, and you did, Keith, in regards to the way the forwards started against United. That intricacy was back, taking more risks around the box, trying to go by players, not taking too many touches. I think tonight then shows. Obviously, they've made a couple of defensive mistakes, and I noticed the way the media homed in on their defensive mistakes tonight on BT, and not the forward play and the really positive play of our front three that hasn't been there in a while. I think the front three now are back on it, Keith. I think the midfield, if that midfield goes into which I would imagine it would, goes into the weekend. And then we Fab and Henderson will probably be the two centre halves. Let's be 100% honest here. But I think hugely out of tonight now is the Trent and Robbo, Axel being huge now. Tonight, lads, will give Trent a huge lift because he has gone through an awful bit of form. He's had the media homing in on him. He's had all this touches bullshit, statistical bullshit that's gone on. The team hasn't played well. He hasn't played well during it. I think tonight is huge for him, and I think now he gives Cresswell something to think about the weekend because Cresswell gets forward a lot. So now it's time to push Cresswell back. He's got a creative little kick tonight. I think we'll have too much from the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Grizz, do you want to have a look at that super chat, have a chat about Tahir Qureshi? Tahir Qureshi sends in a super chat. We're run by so-called billionaires who are cheap, who can instantly spend millions on buying basketball players, but won't spend money on what we need. Is that something you agree with?
I would disagree because I think he's probably meant baseball players.
That's all you're disagreeing with.
Yeah, so I doubt, spending money. But look, thanks for the super chat, Tahir. But look, we know how they operate. We absolutely know how they operate. We knew from the start. Klopp knows from the start. Everyone knows, and that's all fine. No, but that's all fine. That's all fine. That's all fine, and we accept. Say again, sorry.
People are entitled to be frustrated, I think, at the
absolutely fine. No, absolutely fine. And we can accept everything. We can accept every sort of philosophy that they've implemented because it's worked. We have not had a reason. We've not had a moment to sort of to go overboard with our criticism of them because we are where we are, because we're a team. Gordon, Edwards, Klopp is a team. But there's no doubt in my mind that every member of that team has to be on the same wavelength now. That in terms of we need a centre back, so they have to do whatever they've got to do, however they've got to do it, to get a centre back in. Every business guys we've all sort of seen how business operate, or even sort of, in your day-to-day lives, when you face an emergency, when you see an emergency come up, you deal with it, whether it's long-term, short-term, you deal with that emergency with with however you've got to do it. And this we have no centre-backs, guys. We have not one. We were always saying, oh, well, we've got possible combination of X or with Matip, and then possible combination with Fabinho because he was always going to be the fourth centre-back. That's all gone out the window now, lads. Me and you, Keith, we discussed so many times in the summer, and we kind of made no excuse, but we made valid reasons as to why FSG didn't buy a centre back in the summer, and we agreed with it, even though so many didn't. But we have to be fair now and say, well, that's gone out the window now. That we took a risk, it backfired, not because of it's a crazy case of our centre-backs being injured. I mean, they didn't plan to have sort of the situation there is now, but sometimes you've got to have a contingency plan. And this is it. I want to see the contingency plan kick in now.
Yeah. I think there's often, you know, business and football, there's certain times where they don't mix, and when it comes to transfers, you know, fans, you know, are playing a kind of fancy football type of thing, and there's been instances, you know, where we've gone after players and fans have been frustrated that we haven't got certain players. You know, you think back to, you know, the likes of maybe Fekir or Nicholas Pepe. Like there's been so many players trying to put me off there. So many players that we've been linked with, and it hasn't come to fruition. And quite often they've been players that might push you on a little bit, or the luxury players. This is bog stand. This is a commodity that we need to go out and buy, not a luxury. We need to go out and buy something that will absolutely be necessary to get us to the end of the season. And look, we're all delighted with the 3 points tonight, but there's still, it's not going to take much in this congested league to drag us back into a top 4 battle.
Exactly. And look, lads, we'll finish up now, right? So we're all worried, tough game coming up at the weekend, but we're more positive with the Reds after tonight's performance, certainly. One quick question, right? Just give me an answer, all yous. I'll go around the table. Grizz, are we signing the centre-back?
Yes.
Gar, are we signing the centre-back?
Yes.
Dicko, are we signing the centre-back?
Yes.
Keith, are we signing the centre-back? Martin Kelly. Right. This has been the Red Reaction Show after Liverpool have hopped off Spurs. Make no mistake, make no bones about it. We've hopped off Spurs tonight. It's a great feeling. And we're back to winning and scoring ways. And long may it continue. So, lads, thanks very much for joining me tonight.
Great job, Keith.
Good stuff.
No problem.
And we will leave it there. Take care.